for years, seriously, year upon year upon year upon year upon year upon year, Donald Trump has signaled that he believes he deserves the Nobel Prize. And now that we have cemented war in the Middle East, even more than we did supporting the genocide in Gaza, now that we have struck a preemptive strike on Iran, Donald Trump still is banging on about wanting the Nobel Prize. I want to remind you remember the Abraham Accords during the first administration that brought peace to the Middle East? What a miracle of diplomacy from Donald Trump, the great and wonderful dear leader. He's not at all the man behind the curtain who's a terrible wizard. No. Or a very bad wizard. Donald Trump was just a couple months ago, I believe April, the end of April, he was in the Oval Office with the Norwegian Prime Minister and was asked about the Nobel Prize and said, I guess it could be for the Abraham Accords, bringing peace to the Middle East. And then he asked Rubio to chime in because, he can never really put together any thoughts. He has to have someone around him explain everything, like Will Scharf, his nursemaid. He uses the Secretary of State in the same way. Watch this clip of him waxing chagrin that he hasn't gotten the Nobel Prize yet. And listen to what Marco Rubio says, and then we'll get into the rest of this.
Do you think you deserve the Nobel Peace Prize if you manage to create?
Do I deserve the Nobel Peace Prize?
If you manage to create peace?
Well, maybe for the Abraham Accords. I don't want to get ahead of myself on this one, but they say for the Abraham Accords. And by the way, speaking of that, we're going to be filling it up. A lot of countries want to come into the Abraham Accords. We have 4, and Biden did nothing on that one too. It's the same 4. But they're great countries, and they were brave doing it, and it's worked out very well. And we're going to be filling up the Abraham Accords. They're going to be, I think, filling it up, Marco, very rapidly. Marco, could you say something about that?
There's great, enormous opportunity to grow the Abraham Accords. But I would just point to one thing. Of all the leaders in the world today, no leader is working harder to prevent wars or end them than President Trump is right now.
How's that land with you? How's that last statement land with you? Of all the leaders in the world today, no leader. Remember, we just bombed Iran. No leader, says Marco Rubio, sitting next to the dear leader Donald Trump, is working harder to prevent wars than President Trump is right now. Is that a fact, Marco? Is that a fact? Yeah, I ran across this tweet from Juliette Kayyem on Twitter the other day, where I still go to see what people are saying, although I don't contribute to the conversation because it's too filled with Nazis for my taste. Twitter, the Nazi platform. TM, just, trademark that. And Juliette Kayyem, who, by the way, I have immense respect for, especially on matters of this import, of this type. She is educated. She is experienced. She is rarely have I caught her being wrong or even off the mark a little bit. She nails it. Almost exclusively, she is correct. She tweeted this about Donald Trump rambling about the Nobel Prize, because I got another clip. It's a good one too. She wrote this on Twitter. Trump's mental clarity during today's hostile and sometimes incomprehensible presser is as obvious to foreign intelligence agencies as it is to us. This is just one clip, but both our allies and enemies have eyes and ears too. And this is an angle that doesn't get talked about enough. Because if you, an American, or even an ally of America, if you're a foreigner in an allied nation, and you have hope for the continued the continuation of the United States as a country, as a democracy, as a liberal democracy, this should be alarming to you that our enemies have wide-ranging intelligence operations And they're seeing the same thing you're seeing, except they see more than that because, they're hacking into the phones of our defense secretary who uses his personal phone to send signal messages about top secret classified military operations. They certainly are in the phone of the president of the United States who still uses his iPhone. He refuses to use the secured devices that have been provided him to use while president of the United States of America and the commander-in-chief of our armed forces. So when these foreign intelligence operations and counterintelligence operations and hostile foreign powers, they see the same thing you do, and it doesn't bode well for us. They see the decline of Donald Trump. They know the weaknesses. If there were strengths, they would know the strengths. Dementia is not a strength. Rambling and conspiracy theory is not a strength. Insecurity is not a strength. And Donald Trump continuing to bang on about the fact that he deserves the Nobel Prize and then listing a series of non-accomplishments as the reason is alarming because of the influence of hostile foreign powers around the globe, the Vladimir Putins, the Kim Jong-uns, the Viktor Orbáns, the Benjamin Netanyahus, who are most certainly doing their level best to infiltrate what's going on in the United States. Watch Donald Trump seriously go off the rails about deserving the Nobel Prize after having, this was before he did it, but while we're in the midst of ginning up war against an aggressor who didn't aggress against us, there hasn't been a bomb dropped on the United States. There hasn't been a troop killed by Iran. Are they bad? Yeah, they're bad. But there's a lot of countries that are bad that we're not bombing. That's not the high watermark here. Watch absolutely deranged Donald Trump act as though he is worthy of the Nobel Peace Prize.
Leo Cosper was here. Former Congressman Matt Gaetz threw out an interesting idea suggesting that if you were to broker a deal where nuclear inspectors go into both Israel and Iran, that you could win a Nobel Peace Prize, and they might even rename it the Trump Peace Prize. Did you hear those? What do you think of that?
Well, they should give me the Nobel Prize for Rwanda, and if you look at the Congo, or you could say Serbia, Kosovo, you could say a lot of them. You could say, the big one is India and Pakistan. I should have gotten it 4 or 5 times. I should get it for the, I would think the Abraham Accords would be a good one too.
But what do you
They
think
won't
of that
give me a
idea?
Nobel Peace Prize because they only give it to liberals.
I should have gotten it 4 or 5 times, but they only give it to liberals. Rwanda? The DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo? Serbia? Kosovo? What is he talking about? Obviously, he thinks that he secured peace in the Middle East through the Abraham Accords that he's continuing to talk about. And what happened to the peace? As soon as Donald Trump left office, there were drums of war being banged upon. Then there was a genocide. Donald Trump didn't secure peace. Donald Trump has done nothing but inflame situations, make things worse. If there was a Nobel Prize for fuckery, Donald Trump should be getting it. Every year, nonstop, back to back, a three-peat for Donald Trump. You've just been awarded the Nobel Prize for fuckery, sir. Good job, dear leader. Did I just create a new Nobel Prize? I think I may have. Anyway, what do you think? I would appreciate your feedback here. We can have a conversation in the comments. I would encourage that. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, daily at Dollemore.com. Please consider supporting this work. I would appreciate it very much. You can, for $2 a month, help me produce these videos, reaching the millions of people that I do every month. Click the join button below, see what's involved, become a channel member. You can also go to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. And over there on Patreon, same kind of situation. They just take way less money than YouTube does, which is a a good thing when you're trying to fund an independent media operation. Anyway, I love and appreciate you very much. Follow me on the social media. I am at Dollemore just about everywhere. And I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine, be safe, take care of one another.